guys, welcome back to the Homegrown Hopes podcast. I'm your host, 𝐂𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐝, and today I am joined by Shanna from GingerSnaps Photo Management. Welcome, Shanna.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so excited to have you. So you are going to talk to us today about managing our photos, both digital and print photos, and I'm very excited about this because I need help.
Yes, as
I
do
need
many
so much
people.
help. Yes. If you felt the pull to slow down, to create and cultivate a more homegrown life that's simple and fulfilling, and to truly enjoy the magic of ordinary days, then friend, you found your place. I'm Caitlin. I'm a barefoot, Blue Ridge, homegrown mama, and this is the Homegrown Hopes podcast. We'll chat about everything from gardening and scratch cooking to homeschooling and motherhood. With some sarcasm sprinkled in, of course, because I am my daddy's daughter, and Lord knows I'm fluent in that. Just know that whatever it is we're discussing, I am by no means an expert, and I'll never claim to be. I'm just sharing my experiences, the good and the bad, and making the most of the little moments in between. I'm so excited you're here, and so humbled that you've chosen to follow along and hopefully join me in cultivating our homegrown hopes. Oh, so can you give us just a little background on yourself and how you got into this business?
Sure. Yes. So I live in Ontario, Canada. We live on a farm. I live with my husband and two sons. They're 19 and 20, so they're getting older and they're starting to find their own way in life, but they're still around right now. So, or they've been away, I guess. They're coming back.
They come home to eat, probably.
They come home to eat. They've been away to college and now they're both back for a little while. They definitely.
Gotcha. Oh, yes.
Yeah. How I got into photo management. So I was actually away with a couple of my friends for a weekend. There are three of us who like to go away. We take our computers or laptops. We all like to design and make photo books and do other design projects and just kind of work on things. So we were away and my one friend wanted to listen to a podcast. And so she put that podcast on, and on that podcast was a photo manager talking about her business. And so that was the first I'd heard of it. And I thought, everybody just kind of stopped and thought, okay, I need to do this. Shanna, you need to do this. This is whatever. So that's kind of how the seed was planted, I guess. And then the work that I was doing was in the same industry. I was working for a print company in their photo products department. So the photo books and, photo cards and all those sorts of things. So I've always been around this sort of work, and it just naturally fit for me. So I started my website as soon as I could, worked on my certification, and got up and going. And I have been busy ever since.
I bet you have. I love that. Going away for a weekend with your friends and a laptop sounds like just a creative dream.
Exactly.
And the whole business was born. Yeah, you have time to think your own thoughts.
Yes. So that was great. And that's how it all began. Yes.
That is amazing. So how long have you been doing this professionally?
So it actually, professionally started in 2020. So I heard about it in the winter of 2020. And then when COVID hit and everything slowed down, and I said to my boss at the time, I said, if you need to send people home, send me home. I have kids online and we were building a house, and I just thought there's enough happening. So he sent me home. And then once I was home, I thought, well, now that I'm here, I'm going to work on my website. I'm going to work on launching this business. So that's what I did.
Absolutely.
And then I did both for about a year. And then it was too much on this end that I had to quit that job and really ramp this up. So it's been going since early 2020.
That is amazing. I love that. Okay. So I think I'm probably speaking for most people when I say that I'm just completely overwhelmed when I even think about organizing my photos.
Yes.
So what do you think are some common challenges that the average person faces when we even jump into organizing both digital or printed photos?
Yes, I would say the biggest challenges are firstly just the overwhelm, the not knowing where to start, the chaos of it all. And secondly, space. Like phones are full, clouds are full, computers are full. And then as far as the physical photos, your houses are full. People want to clean out these days. They want to minimize things and clear the clutter. And so space is an issue, both digitally and physically. So that I would say is one of the biggest challenges. Another one would be lack of tech savviness, lack of
Yes.
interest in anything techie. A lot of people do not feel like they're techie. They don't want to be techie. They have no interest in it. So then how do you navigate the clouds? How do you find all your photos? How do you pull them off all these old devices and discs you can't even read in your laptop anymore? And how do you manage it all? So those would be definitely the biggest challenges, I think. Yes.
I have thought all of those things.
Yes.
You are inside my brain right now. And actually, before we even started the podcast, you saw just how tech savvy I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with this thing?
Yes.
No, that is so true. Like, we have a bag of old cell phones that I'm
Yes.
going to pull the photos off of
Yeah.
at some point in my life.
Yeah, I hear that. I can't throw these out. I know there are photos on here. I don't know how to access them. I can't even turn the phones on anymore, but I know there are
No, they don't even make that same charger anymore.
Yes, exactly. So
Oh my
yeah, you are definitely not alone. People are not alone. I actually did a workshop yesterday with a group of seniors talking about how to work on downsizing and handle all your print photos from your past and how to manage the digital when you're not feeling like you even want to enter the digital world. And they left there thinking, okay, now I at least feel this is manageable. Like, this project does seem completely overwhelming, but it can actually be tackled and managed. You just have to kind of break things down and maybe get some coaching along the way if you need it, but it can definitely be managed.
Okay. Well, there's hope for me then.
Oh.
You mentioned people not wanting to have so much clutter. We're in the process of moving. Like, today, I paused cleaning and all of that and hopped over here and made myself look like a human.
Okay.
But I do not want to take so much stuff in. It's amazing how much stuff you accumulate. And like right now, I just have a huge tote of print photos.
Yes. Yeah.
So yes, I'm very intrigued on the downsizing.
Yes. And they're not just items. It's hard enough for people to purge anything, but then when it comes to your photos, it's your actual memories and your family's memories. Even if you don't have any connection to certain photos, you feel like you can't throw them out. You feel this
Yes.
strong connection to these images, whether they actually mean something to you or not. And it's really
I know I
hard
have pictures of people I don't even know.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I'm related to them, but how do you get rid of that? I know I see like family photos in a thrift store or something. I'm like, how do you get rid of that? Well, there's probably a manageable way to do that.
Get to a point. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, so you mentioned, we were talking specifically about digital photos and how they're just spread out across so many devices and platforms in the cloud. How does a person even get started tackling that? What does that look like on your end?
So the best way to actually start with your digital is to gather every device in your house that holds a digital photo. Create one bin or box, or even if it's a series of bins, if you have many items, put that bag of phones in that bin. Any disk you find, any flash drive, any digital frame, anything that holds a digital photo, gather it all in one place. And then you at least can see, okay, this now I know it eliminates the chaos of where is everything. At least you have it all in front of you. And then you can, and this is a great time for you to do something like this when you're moving, right? As you come across
Absolutely.
things, put it all
This
in
could
one.
not have come at a better time for me.
Yes.
I'm taking notes as you speak, by the way.
Yes. Put it all in one place. And then from there, I mean, it's a process now you have to go through, but ideally you have all your items together. You can then, the next step, if you want me to get into a bit more detail, would be you need to get yourself a large enough external hard drive that you can work on. So then the process would be you make a folder on that hard drive to correspond to every single source you have. So phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3, computer 1, computer 2. And you need to take the time to pull every photo off those devices and onto that external hard drive. Once you have all your photos in that one place on that hard drive, then there are other steps you can do. You can find programs to deduplicate and then also go further and pare down similar photos. So instead of 12, you end up with 2 or 1. You can get programs to sort chronologically. You can rename, you can redate, you can do all sorts of things with those digital files once you have them in one place. But first, gather all the items, get them together so you can actually see what you have, and then figure out, is this a project that I can actually tackle? I can break this down. I can plug a flash drive in and I can plug this hard drive in and I can copy and paste. Or if it's completely beyond you, then you know, okay, this is the box that I need help with. I need to find somebody who can help me. So
Yes.
start there.
Outsource the chaos.
Outsource if you need to. And if you don't, if you feel like you can work through it step by step, just break it down into smaller projects. And
That makes so much sense, because even just thinking for myself, like we're kind of disorganized with our life right now anyway, but I know I have a Ziploc bag of phones and a Ziploc bag of flash drives. And then there's
yes,
like a stack of CDs
yes,
that have
yes,
pictures on them from like high school.
yes,
So they all need to be put into one space. Okay.
one space. And then once you have it all there, then you can evaluate and say, okay, can I do this? Can I do this over the winter? Can I tackle this? Do I need help with this? What's next?
Yeah, this is a great winter project because
Yes.
we do have milder weather here in North Carolina than you do, I'm sure, but this is the time that we do the inside projects. So this
It
could
is.
be a wonderful, wonderful project for me. Because,
Yes.
with a new move, I don't have any projects or anything.
Now you
Twiddling
have
my thumbs over here. But this is a good time. Okay, I'm feeling so excited about this. So that's the digital side of things. Let's talk about the tote of photographs that's under my bed.
Yes.
How do you
So
even start organizing that?
those seem a little more daunting. Um, same basic beginning gather. So you have the one tote. I'm sure there are probably frames hiding around your house somewhere that will hold not only one photo, but probably 8, because you just put the latest one in and you keep the older ones in there. So you just keep
Yes.
piling them in. So find every frame, every album, everything. Some people keep newspaper clippings from over the years. Anything that you
Guilty.
might want to sort and digitize or preserve, gather them. If you have a space, if you have if you have a den or an office or somewhere where you can set up a table to start working on these printed photos, that's even better. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but at least gather them all into one place. And then same from there, you can break down the project. So I tell people, this group I was working with yesterday too, I said, don't be overwhelmed by the 20 albums. Pick one album today, take it to the living room, and this evening when you're sitting and relaxing, go through that one album. Pull out the photos that you want to keep. Start a little, whether it's a shoebox or a photo box, whatever you feel you want to work on this project through, but just pull out one album. And tonight, all I need to do is go through this one album. That's very doable. Flip through, pull
Yes.
out the photos you want. The rest can just stay in the album and you can purge. People get scared when I say that word, but you can,
No, dun, dun, dun.
can actually purge. And as you're, okay, so that's an album. If you are looking at your box of loose photos, I have a few tips to get through that.
Okay.
You're going to want to get your pen ready.
Help me.
You're going to want to create 3 piles. The first one is keep. That's easy. Second one is pass. Those are the photos that you don't want to necessarily throw out, but somebody may enjoy them yet. You might see one
Okay.
and think, oh, that's a neighbor. My sister grew up playing with that neighbor all the time. So maybe your sister wants that photo. Maybe, so you have your keep pile for you. You have a pass pile, which you can worry about later. For now, just put everything in that pile that you want to distribute and then toss. And you will find that that toss pile will grow quickly, because realistically, not every photo we've taken needs to be kept. Absolutely. So,
Especially on my phone. I was looking through the other day trying to delete stuff, and I was like, why is this even in here? So many like screenshots and just
yes,
wasted
yes,
space. Yes.
yes.
Okay.
The other couple tips that I'll give on sorting printed photos, 2-second rule. So when you flip a photo over and you look at it and you see anything in there that makes you want to keep it, set it in that keep pile and move on. Don't reminisce, don't walk down memory lane with every photo, or you will never get through that bin. So 2 seconds, pick it up, yes or no. Will someone else want it? Put it in the right pile and carry on. And then the third tip that I have, which is one of my favorites, if you have a stack of 4x6s and you don't even know where to start, don't even look at the photos. Turn them over and look at the back. And first sort them by the paper. So Kodak versus Fuji versus wherever else you may have printed your photos. And even the Kodak logo will have changed over the years, as did Fuji. So even sorting them in piles by the photo paper and the logo on the back will get you 90% on your way to sorted. So start
Ooh.
there. Then when you turn those individual piles over and you start looking through them, you might think, oh, there's actually 2 different vacations in this pile. I must have printed our holiday pictures. at Blacks this time, or wherever, I'm not sure where you print in your area, but flip them over. And then from there you can sort further. So those would be my quick tips for sorting printed
I
photos.
love that. No, those are great little takeaways. I love that idea. And it seems so much more manageable just to take one
Yes.
stack very quickly. This is not going to take me 3 hours of reminiscing. And
Yes.
I
And
like
don't,
that.
so I'll mention Kathy Nelson she's our founder and CEO of the Photo Managers Organization. And she always says, this is not word for word, but her quote is something like, you've spent a lifetime making these memories, you can't organize them in a weekend. So remember that this project will take you a little bit of time, but just break it down. Take one album a day, or take one stack of photos up to the couch in the evening and sort through that one stack. And don't look at the whole, 7 bins worth. Just take a pile,
Yes.
work your way, and you will get through it. If you stay consistent with it, you'll get through it.
Tiny pieces. Okay. That's fantastic advice. Okay. So you mentioned your mom.
Yes.
What advice do you give to moms about organizing photos that makes this task seem a little less daunting? Because I'm very sentimental and I have just photos of stuff that doesn't even matter. But then I look through and think, well, I don't even remember taking this picture. I don't even remember them being that little.
Yes.
So the amount of photos can just pile
It's
up.
completely overwhelming for sure.
Yes. Yes.
I would say one thing for busy moms, when you're in a stage of like your focus is completely on keeping little people functioning, and
Yes.
don't worry
Handing
so
out
much.
snacks.
Yes. Don't get caught up on many people feel like I need to delete. I need to go back through all the years on my phone and I need to delete. Don't get completely hung up on that, because in reality, I don't actually know of anybody who has completed that task. It's so overwhelming. So the
Yes.
chances that you're going to go back and delete everything you really would like to delete, I mean, it sounds great. And some people work away at parts of it, and that helps for sure. But rather than focusing on that, focus on moving forward. So instead, do things like take your photos with more intention. Don't snap 7, snap 1. And that is a
Guilty.
mindset shift. Absolutely. For me too. I do find myself now when I pick up my phone to take a photo, I take one and I'm so tempted to press that shutter again. And you don't. You have to learn not to. Um, Definitely take photos with more intention. I always tell people, when you open your phone, whether it's in the morning with your coffee, or some people like to do it before they go to bed, whenever you sit down and you start scrolling, rather than opening Instagram first, or YouTube, or the news, or the weather, open your Photos app first and just take those 2 minutes, look through what you took yesterday, and you may have 0 photos, you may have 5, maybe there was an event and you have 17, I don't know. But if you just take those 2 minutes every day to go through your phone, go through yesterday's photos and think, oh, well, I certainly don't need those. Well, that was for the grocery store. I can delete that screenshot. I can
Yes.
a few minutes. And I know, like, one of the ways to get your children involved is sit down for those 2 or 5 or whatever minutes together and say, well, let's look at what we did yesterday. Let's look at our photos and
Yes.
say, okay, we've have 5 photos here. We only need to keep 2. Which 2 should we keep? They can have their
I
input in,
love that.
and from their perspective, what's important to them from yesterday is always interesting. So just before you open all the other, because you will still scroll Instagram, you will still look up the weather, you will still read the news if that's what you want to do. First, open your Photos app. Try just to take those 2 minutes. And if you do it every day, it is not a big task, and you will delete so much clutter off your phone.
Oh, I love that. I love that advice. And it's
Yes,
so simple that you can definitely do that. It doesn't really
you
take
do
that
that.
much brain power.
Right. Everybody can do that. And maybe today you want to sit quietly and look through yesterday's, or maybe tomorrow your toddler's on your lap and they look through with you. Just whatever works, but take the time to go through and decide what you want to keep and what can go. Things can go.
That,
Don't be
yes,
afraid to
they can
delete. One of my photo manager friends always says delete is not a dirty word. So delete.
go. Love that. It is so scary though, and it's silly because I find myself, I don't even look back at my photos half the time. They're just on my phone. Every now and then the memories will pop up and I'll think, I don't even remember taking that picture.
Yes.
So I think that's definitely, you've got to have that mindset shift of it's not the end of the world. That
Yes.
memory still happened. You just don't have it on your phone.
Yes.
Okay, and I love that advice for getting the kids involved. That was my next question. How do you get them involved in this whole process? Um, and maybe, I guess part of my next question is, how do we use these photos to maybe connect kids to their family history? Like I know my mother-in-law has done this really fun thing where she has a basket that sits out on the table in her living room, and it's just old family photos, and she switches it out every so often. And so
Oh,
it's like a conversation piece. You come in and you look through, and oh, there was your dad in high school wrestling, and there was your grandpa, in the military. And so it's really fun to do that. Um,
yeah.
so how do you think, and maybe I'm thinking more digitally. I'm terrible about not printing my photos now. I have several printed from years ago, but I don't print now. So how do we do that now to use these photos to connect to our family history, you think?
Yeah, that is a really cool idea that your mother-in-law does. I like
I
that.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that a lot of people are finding interesting right now are digital frames. I don't know if you've seen them or if you've ever had one,
Yes.
but
I
they're
don't
fantastic.
have one. My mother-in-law does, and my
Okay.
grandmother-in-law. I love those things. We'll sit around and just look. Yeah.
Yes, and they just scroll through in your living room. And I know when we have little kids over, they'll just stand there and they'll watch it because they just find
Mine
it
do the same thing.
interesting. So
Yes.
that's one thing that you can so easily upload photos from your phone onto your frame, and they'll just play in your living room. And you can include old photos. You can include, of course, any photos that you would like, but it's just a good way to actually get your photos off your phone, off the computers, and out and seen. The other thing that I have found kids a little bit older, maybe, but still children find really interesting is set them up on the computer on a photo book site. Like Mixbook is one I recommend to people just because it's really easy to use. I know there are so many, but find they like let them scroll through the templates and find one that they find interesting, and let them put a photo book together. See what
A
photos
great
they
idea.
want to include. Just let them pull it over, have it printed, and then the key though is to have it sitting out. Have it on your coffee table or island or somewhere where people will be and where your kids will be, and they will definitely pick those books up and look through them.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of photo books, like from when the children were born. But
Yes.
you could very easily do like a family history album in photo book form. That seems a lot
Oh,
more
for sure.
manageable than going through the old style photo album.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that you live on a farm. This is a like mom and homesteading podcast. So
Yes.
how do you, because I find like on my phone, I have a million pictures of like a goat's foot that I'm
Yeah.
sending to the vet or something. I go back, but how do you actually use photos, I guess, to showcase life on the farm without it just being random stuff? How
Mm.
how do you discipline yourself?
Yeah, a few different ways. So definitely for me, I am a photo book creator. So I love to make photo books. So I definitely try to get our everyday moments out in a photo book every year. I'm behind by a year or two right now, but
Oh, that makes me feel good. If the
I
professional's
think I'm
behind, then I have hope.
think I'm working on early 2022. So, um, of course, when we come home from a vacation or something, I love to put a photo book together. It's exciting. It's, all the things. But when you look back on those photo books from your everyday life, those bring out all the stories and the if I
Yes.
so I will change our photo books out on our living room or island regularly, semi-regularly. And so when I intentionally put one out on the island before both of my boys came home from college last year for their March break. And I thought, oh, I just want to see how this goes. And they picked it up right away. And then all the stories start flooding. Stories I maybe hadn't heard before too, which is interesting. But
I love that.
definitely getting them out in print. And of course, the digital frame is a great thing too, because they do take note to that. But um, one thing I will mention with digital photos and setting up for sort of how do I like sending them off to the next generation or preserving them for the next generation. I have two boys, like I said. So right now they find them interesting, but I wouldn't say preserving family memories is high on their priority list as
Right.
19, 20-year-old boys. So what do I do for the future so that they can access family memories? They'll have photo books that they can divvy up and have, and that's fine. But for me, when it comes to cloud services, so I'm a Mac user, so I use Apple, I use iCloud. iCloud would be my working library. So everything, I will open mine and like you see screenshots and photos that are unnecessary and too many of this and too many of that. And for a long time, that would stress me out. And I've come to the realization now that my iCloud is just my working space. I can't clean it up. I just need to work in this space. So then I have a second cloud. For me, it's forever. It can be whatever cloud service works for you. But then I go in about once a month and I send only the photos that I really want to keep or pass on to the next generation to that cloud service. So someday that cloud is the one that my boys will have access to, or my husband,
that is so smart.
Yes, because I can't keep what I'm doing. There's work stuff in there, there's farm stuff in there, there's food, there's all the things right in my working library. And for me, I just need to leave that be and I just need to function. And then the ones that I want to pass on, I send somewhere else. And that is what my kids will access someday. Or I'll share with them, or I'll save it to an external hard drive and give it to them when they're however old. However I handle that at the time, that will be the library that they'll actually care about.
That gives me so much hope. Yes. Because the thought of going in the cloud and trying to find any kind of organization.
No, it's so hard.
I can just count that off. It is. Well, it's because I've neglected it all these years because I didn't even know what a cloud was. And now it's too late.
Yes. Now it's just overwhelming. And it can, if you decide to tackle a project like this, if somebody out there listening wants to set this sort of system up, it then is very easy. So then maybe when you sit down in the morning, you set a timer for yourself and you think, okay, I have 20 minutes. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on August. I'm going to select all the August pictures I want to send up, and then July, and then June. And you just kind of work backwards and you choose your photos that you want to keep. And obviously write it down so you can keep track, however you need to do that. But it is a manageable thing to set up now that you have made your mind up on how you want to set this up for the future. You can definitely tackle it.
That's very true. Just going month to month is not quite.
Give yourself, as I said, break it down a little bit. Not, what am I going to send on to my kids? I've got 30,000 photos on my phone or whatever it is. I don't know. My client now.
It's not good. I'll tell you, it's not good.
No, although the one client I'm working with right now has 218,000 photos on her iPhone. So that is the highest that I've seen so far.
You've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, so that is a challenging library. But anyway, you can do this. People who are listening can definitely do this. You can get your memories in order. This can happen. Yes.
Okay. I love the hope. Now, going back to the farm side of things. So I have like the blog that shares a lot of educational resources for homestead skills and recipes and things like that. Is there a way that you suggest to organize photos so that they could pass on skills to your children, not just memories? Any tips on that?
Skills to your children.
I guess that could be like a photo book thing.
Could create a photo book about that. I mean, obviously you can create wherever you store your photos, you can create folders and albums within that digital library where at least you keep everything together. These are all my tips on gardening, or these are all my tips on this. You can create albums in your, whether it's iCloud or Google or wherever else, where you could at least go back to that same space and find all the detail that you would like.
That makes sense. So you could break it down, not just chronologically, but
yes,
skill, I
guess. Topic. So if you're looking at something like iCloud, say you're in iCloud, I know not everybody is, I'm just using it as an example, but you could create a folder that's called gardening. And then in that folder, you could create various albums, one for growing tomatoes, one for growing, I don't know, what else do you grow on your, all the things.
Nothing right now. I neglected my garden this summer.
Yeah.
Weeds, lots of weeds.
How to grow weeds.
I could have a lot of album for that. Well, I was just thinking back too, like I have old family recipe books and things like that, but those things don't hold up forever. So as we move into a digital space, I do like the idea of having these things in a cloud somewhere.
Yes. And recipe books they're another really precious item that are often included in printed photos when I digitize for people. The handwriting that's in them is really special. So you can definitely have those scanned and digitized, keep them in your cloud, or reprint them into a photo book that's a little, more user friendly again, so you don't feel like it's going to fall apart. And then anybody else in
Yes.
your family can also print a copy. But they're definitely, recipe books are important. Yes, they're very important.
Yeah.
Food
I
is a big
love that.
part of people's worlds, and the people
You'd be
who prepare
amazed at how many food photos I have.
Yes. So recipe books are very important. Yes. If you have a
Okay.
special
Yeah,
one, it's definitely worth preserving it. Yeah.
I love that. I was just thinking about the things that, that we try to teach them now, but they're probably not listening because my son's not interested in how to cook some, he's 10.
Right. Yes. Not
So
yet. Yeah.
not yet. He's
Not yet.
interested in eating it, but not
Yes.
really cooking it.
That will change. That will change.
Yes. Okay. Well, gosh, my head is just spinning with all of the things that I want to do. So,
Yeah.
okay, for our listeners who are thinking maybe they want to get organized, but they don't feel like they want to do it themselves, what services do you offer? What does that look like if someone comes to you needing help?
Right. Yeah, so I work with clients all across North America, which is nice. As far as digital organizing goes, people will put everything in a box and they will courier it to me, even US to Canada. We've done that many times. The other thing that I can do is hop on and work remotely. Obviously, there's a lot of screen sharing capabilities, and so location is not a factor. I can definitely work with people wherever. So digital organizing for sure. When it comes to printed photo organizing, some people I can coach virtually, and that works fine. If you would prefer somebody come right into your home and work with you, then I definitely have a great network of fellow photo managers all across the US and Canada, well, all across the world actually now, we're really growing. So if you would prefer somebody sit down with you to work through your project, I can connect you for sure with the right person.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that there was a world out there,
Yes, yeah, for
and
sure.
it's so needed. My goodness, what a great, I
So
need your help.
that's the
Okay.
organizing
Asking for
individual.
a friend.
Yeah,
I
asking for a
don't,
friend.
yeah.
There's also the custom photo books. I do a lot of photo books for people, and that, of course, can be done digitally from, yeah, across the world if needed. And then I would probably print somewhere more locally to you and have it sent to you directly. And so there are all kinds of ways to work together. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. What a world that we live in that you can,
Yeah.
do that remotely. Okay, so how can our listeners connect with you?
Okay.
I will
So
have your information in the show notes, but just for those listening.
sure. So it's gingersnaps.ca is my website, and that is my handle on most platforms, gingersnaps.ca. Facebook, Instagram. You can message me through anything. My phone number is available on there. You can text me or call me or reach out. I am also on YouTube, although I'm not on YouTube under um, Ginger Snaps. I'm under Photo Book Master. So my YouTube channel is about teaching people how to create their own photo books. So if that's something you're interested in, you can always hop on YouTube and look up Photo Book Master. You'll find me there. But yeah, basically, however you want to reach out, I'm happy to answer your questions and either help you or direct you to somebody who could help you.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I feel like this is just the best resource. Like I have several mom friends and we just had this conversation the other day. Like I really wish that I printed a monthly photo book, but I
Yes.
don't even know where to start. So I really think this is going to resonate with a lot of people because it's just a daunting task. So
Yes.
to even hear
Oh,
that I can do this.
and I just thought of one other thing actually that I was thinking the other day when I was thinking about how you wanted to incorporate children into this whole conversation. And one
Yes.
of the challenges, I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody put out a challenge to say, you pick 10 photos per year to represent your family, which is a real challenge. But I was thinking if you sat down with your children and you let them each choose one photo from each month, just one photo, what is your favorite photo from that month? And you just take that photo and you pop it in a photo book from each of your children, like if you have 3 kids, if you have 6 kids,
Yes.
whatever, and however many pages, and just put one photo per page. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal or a big design process, but have each kid pick. We're coming up on January soon, right? Like on a new year. So start in
Yes.
January. Let them each
Start
choose.
fresh.
They're fresh. Choose one photo each month and just pop it in a page in a photo book. And then at the end of the year, print that off. And it'll be the coolest memory to look back through.
I
Yes.
love that idea. And what a cool like Christmas gift idea. Like you
Yes.
picture your own photos and here's your, at
Here's
the
your
end of the
book.
year.
What's up? Yeah.
Man, I love that idea.
Yes. And
That's
you
so
can,
good.
there are all sorts of things. You can take it a step further. You could take a little video of them opening or choosing their photos. You can put a QR code in your book then of them choosing their photos each month that will bring you to this video. Like there are all sorts of
Oh my
things
gosh.
you
I
can
didn't even
do.
know they did that.
You can do that.
My
You
mind is blown.
yes. So you can come up with a really cool project to do with your family or your children and at the end of it have something that will live on for years and years and years.
I
Yes.
really like that idea because I think for me, I see it as my task. Not that everyone else can't do it, but it's just another thing that mom's going to do.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
So I love getting them involved in that way. And then they kind of feel some connection, even more connection to it, than if they
Yes.
just receive the book and here's pictures of you this year. Remember, you picked that. Oh, man, that's great. That's a great tip. Okay.
Definitely
Man.
send me photos if you create these books from anybody listening. I would love to see the projects that you create with your children. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Send them over.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is wonderful. Okay. So, any final thoughts? Anything you want to share with our audience before we sign off?
I guess my final thought when it comes to organizing your photos, it doesn't matter what your family status is, what your financial status is, your memories are important. They are worth preserving. Some will be good, some will be frustrating, some will be sad, but they all create your story. So they are definitely worth preserving.
It's beautiful. That's so true. I love that.
Yes.
Man, thank you
Yes.
so much for being here today. So I will, like I said, have all of your information in the show notes for our listeners who are thinking that they would like for you to help them,
Yes.
because I have a feeling I am not going to be the only one thinking that. Um, and I'm so excited to connect with you. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely. All righty. Talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.